Hello and welcome back for our final segment of fun fondant flowers. So now we're going to do a little pansy, which is another one of my favorite ones. And again, with the pansies, you can do these in any color combination. Usually they have kind of a darker and a lighter color to them. So I've seen, purple and yellow, pink and white, a dark purple and a lighter purple, just so many different color combinations. So we've got some purple and yellow for today. So we're going to take our purple fondant here that's mixed with gum paste, and we're going to roll that out. And this one we're going to have, again, be kind of the thickness of a dime. And then we're going to take, okay, that's good. We're going to take a little 5-petal flower cutter like this, and we're going to cut out just our flower. You can, again, find these kind of petal cutters anywhere. Wilton has them. You can, find a cookie cutter that looks like that. Just really anything works out really great. So we're going to take our purple and set it aside here so it doesn't dry out. And we're going to get our thin foam again. And now we're going to take our ball tool and we're just going to thin out the edges of our flower here. And again, just want to do it lightly. You don't want to push too hard so that you don't rip through it. And they don't have to be that big. If you want them bigger, then go for it. You can have them as big and as ruffly or non-ruffly as you want them to be. It's all the look of what you want. And we'll do our third one here. And then we're going to be doing kind of the same thing with our yellow color, but there's a little trick to it, and I'll show you what to do here. So we've got our last petal here that we're going to thin out. And if any of these should tear or rip, you can always cut another one, or you can take some vanilla and paint it over the little ripped part and just set it aside to dry, and that really helps it. So before we do our yellow, we're going to switch to our thick foam here, and we're going to push our ball tool into these petals so that they kind of cup up, and then one in the center there. And again, it's going to fall back open just from the weight of the fondant, but that's okay. So we're going to set this aside for a second to dry on one of our flower formers. There we go. And then we're going to get our yellow and roll this out really thin, about the thickness of a dime again. And if you ever get one of these little rolling pins that has the rings on them, you can, I think it's the pink ring that's the thinnest one, and you can use that to help measure how thick you want it. So we're going to cut out another one here from our yellow, but we don't need all of these. We're actually just going to tear off, and you can use a cutter. That would work great. Or if you don't have a cutter, you can just rip it off. We just want to tear off 2 of the petals here. We don't need everything else. So we're going to set our yellow aside and get our thin foam and put our 2 petals on there. And we're going to thin out our 2 yellow petals. Because if you look at a pansy, it's kind of layered just on one side. The whole thing is not double layered. So we're thinning out that side, and you can thin out the little part that you ripped off to kind of make it look more realistic. Okay, and again, we'll switch to our thick foam and cup our little petals with our ball tool. And then we're going to take our purple side, and we're going to paint. Just pick 2 flowers on here, and we'll just paint it in the center of those 2 flowers, and that's where you're going to lay your 2 yellow flowers. Not exactly on top of it, because you want to be able to see the purple flowers, or purple petals, there you go, underneath. But there we go, we'll turn it around like that, but just a little bit lower down. Now we're not completely finished yet. We'll let that set up and dry a little bit. We'll get our yellow back, because these little guys have this little ring in the center of them. So we're just going to roll out a really thin snake-like piece of this yellow here. And usually you want to do whatever color those two top petals are in. If it's a dark purple, you'll do a dark purple little loop. If you used white or something, then you'll use a white piece. Yeah, whatever color you have for those two top petals. So I just folded this in half here, or folded it and brought it together so it was a little loop. And we're just going to take, you can also do it with icing. You don't have to do it with the fondant if it's just a little too hard to get that in there. Then you can pipe it on there with some icing. That would work out just great. Okay, and kind of pick up our yellow leaves just a little bit, or petals, so they stick up. And then we've got our fun little pansy here. Look at that, how cute that is. Another thing you can do with these is you can actually take some of your paste color and dip a paintbrush in there, and you can paint some of the little marks that they have inside. I know deep down inside of there, it's usually a little bit darker than most flowers, so that's just a little inside thing you can paint in there with your paste colors. Mix that with a little bit of vanilla and it'll work out really great. You can take icing and kind of pipe it in there to paint some of the texture, the colors and things like that. Just really the sky is the limit. And then of course, make your little petal or your little leaves to go with it, and you'll have a fun flower. So that's it for our show today. We've done some fun flowers. We did our calla lily, and then our daisy and our pansies, and there are so many more that I'm so excited to share with you. If you have any comments or questions about the show, please feel free to contact me, to email me. My email is apieceofcake21@gmail.com, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you again. So we'll see you next time.